r/Askreddit by Reddit and chill. What was the most porno situation you've ever had? My neighbor locked herself out of her townhouse dorm over winter break. I was the only other resident living in the complex at the time. The resident assistant who had a master key bailed to his girlfriend's place 4 hours away and wouldn't be back for another 2 days. But said he may return sooner. If we called the building director, the neighbor would be fined $200 for losing her keys and the RA whom we all liked would be fired. Offered Lydia, the neighbor, the option of hanging out since it was a townhouse and there was room. She said she would hang out until she could find somewhere else to go and made a few phone calls that went unanswered. Ordered pizza and watched a movie that evening until she fell asleep on the couch. I put a pillow under her head and a blanket over her and went to bed. Woke up with her next to me in the morning. Spent the next 2 days intermittently having sex, watching movies and making meals. She had this thing about hanging out in only t-shirts, underwear and socks. It seemed like every meal prep was interrupted by us having to put things on simmer and go have sex. Perfection gif. I used to work at a restaurant and a colleague of mine slipped, spilling all the drinks over me as I was trying to catch her. Since my boss lived above the restaurant, he offered me to take a shower upstairs to clean myself up. I gladly accepted. However, this was never communicated to his wife. So she thought her husband was in the shower and decided to surprise him. So she snuck into the bathroom, it didn't have a lock, got naked and pulled the shower curtains open in one quick motion while striking a pose. To her surprise, it wasn't her husband that was showering. It was me. I also happened to be facing the shower curtain as she pulled it open. We both froze for a couple seconds and locked eyes. She closed that curtain as fast as she opened it and apologized about 100 times on her way out of the bathroom. I just started laughing when she had left and fully realized what had just happened. I finished my shower, went back downstairs and told my boss what happened. He bursted out laughing and asked if I liked what I saw. I answered with a yes. Got a pat on the back and just went back to work. Me and my boss's wife never talked about it, but my boss would sometimes tease his wife with it when only us three were present. TLDR. Got to see my boss's wife full naked while taking a shower. Got to say, baller move telling him straight up that you liked what you saw, haha. I drove my best friend around while he had a three-way in the back seat. You are a true brother. The world needs more PPL like you. Put that up on your resume as team player. Best friend got married just after college. Got paired with someone in the wedding party I had never met. While driving this older Jewish grad student to the bride's parents' place to the after party, she remarks, "I'm glad you know how to drive a stick because this is the only stick I can drive," and reaches over and grabs my junk for the rest of the ride. We banged all over 2 different rooms and a living room sectional that night while everyone was passed out all over the house. I got laid before the groom did that night. The carpenter renovating my room thought I was gay. I'm a straight guy. We were alone in the house. I finished taking a shower and was only in my towel. And I innocuously analyzed his shirtless torso in all its glory, wondering what routine is he doing in the gym. Maybe I was staring too hard. He then approached me and tried to make out with me. I pushed him and laughed and said no. He said he thought I wanted to have sex with him with all the stares I was giving him. Lesson learned. To be more aware how I'm staring at people. What routine was he doing? I was sitting watching TV with my 2 female friends when one of them says to the other, "Hey, wouldn't it be funny if we watched porn?" I had a pest control guy come into my condo without really knocking when I was about 20 years old. I had just gotten out of the shower, so I was in only a bathrobe. I also had just done laundry, so all my delicates like bras, panties and lacy lingerie were hanging around to dry. I have no idea what that poor guy was thinking I was trying to do, but I swear I just didn't realize he was coming. Hopefully not on your clean delicates. Go for a walk in the park and get pulled into the trees to have sex cause we couldn't wait to get home. What park did you go to? I'll make a note to avoid it and its rappy trees. Gives a whole new meaning to getting wood. Pub. Married couple sit down and start talking about a threesome with me, how they have done it before. I was young and dumb and got weirded out and left. She was hot too. Yes, but was the guy hot? I was watching porn in the living room when my stepmom walked in. It was nothing like the simulations. I'm more amazed at the fact you were watching porn in your living room when your family was home. Delivered pizza to a hotel where a drunken orgy was going on. Customer gestured to me, 19-year-old nerd girl. Mousy and unattractive. Then to the scene, which included a guy snorting coke off a stripper's back, and asked, "Wanna play?" Turned him down because I was more concerned about paying rent. Also turned down his tip offer of a baggie of cocaine. He tipped me $50, though. So that was cool. I've heard drunken parties are the easiest way to get tips. They commonly give you money to keep quiet about the illegal things they do. Sex with female roommate. We had just started season 1 of Doctor Who. She found it boring and legit said, "This is boring, wanna duck?" Also prior to this she would walk around in thongs and bend over in front of me while doing laundry. And plenty of other random acts of accidentally doing stuff like this occurred. Do not shit where you eat. Ended up ruining everything a year later. As cool as it was. Ruined our friendship and mutual friendships as well. How hot was she? How did you ruin the friendship? Burning Man. Entered a tiny geodesic done with a girl. 2 girls in bikinis followed us and literally sat down and spread her legs wide open at me. Grinning. I probably would have done the thing but the girl I was with was not into it. To be fair, you dodged a burning sandpaper. My co-worker came to my office and said, "Come with me." She starts leading me down to the basement where there's never any other people. Turns out she just needed me to carry something heavy. Oof. Met a girl through a friend in college. She had a lot of issues with her laptop, so I came over one day and fixed it up for her. She paid me with a blowjob and finished me off on her face. She took a selfie with my phone and I haven't seen or spoken with her much since. This happened to me, but instead of a blowjob and cum shot, she accused me of installing malware on her PC and getting her bank account hacked. Back when I delivered pizza, I was greeted at the door by a woman wearing the skimpiest of clothing. Nearly completely see-through. I think she noticed that I was looking at her nipples and she mentioned her and her husband were swingers. Asked me to come inside, but my anxious ass declined, so she just took off her top and gave me some cash. In about 4 hours I'll be going to my pizza delivery job. I'm praying something like this happens. Update. It's busy as all hell tonight. And yet I have not even delivered to even one cutie. Delivered to an older man in boxer briefs though : My freshman year of college, a girl was going door to door in the dorms offering to give head for someone to do her chemistry homework. Never been so upset I didn't pay attention in high school, chem. I was on a date last week with a very attractive girl. Great body. Gorgeous face. Very hot. We're nearing the end of dinner and we start talking about sex and other atypical first date dinner conversation stuff. I don't know what I said, but she kind of just paused for a second. Looked at me seductively. And said, "Would you like to go back to my place and eat my kitten?" My jaw dropped. Never had that one happen before and probably never will again. Welsh stupid, cause you just ate dinner. Went to a friend's house party and ended up in a foursome with him, his girlfriend, and one of his girlfriend's girlfriends. I had way too much to drink though. So with that on top of the anxiety about the whole situation, I couldn't perform at all. I'm barely a twosome kind of guy, let alone a foursome. No idea how that whole thing happened. Friend came over and let me touch her thighs. I'm a sad human. Edit. We did other weird stuff too, if you'll wanna know. Look at Mr. Hotshot over here with friends. Complimented a girl on how amazing her boobs are while in the restroom. Proceeded to show me and let me touch them. It was an interesting experience. She has the most beautiful aqua eyes. You think she would have let you touch her eyes? The childhood best friend who was like a little brother to me and I were on the couch, just hanging out, and suddenly on a whim, I just kissed him and it rapidly devolved into an entire evening of sex. We've been together a little under a year now, and he still jokes about the little brother slash sexy older stepsister dynamic, even though we're just regular boyfriend and girlfriend now. Edit. He's a little over a year younger than me. So for 2 months of the year I'm 2 years older than him. He exclusively referred to me as his cougar girlfriend during this time. Oh, maidens in your savage season abridged. A lady invited me to her place for dinner. She failed to mention that she was married and her husband and kid were at dinner too. It was incredibly awkward, but even more so when we went to room and I seen a camera lens poking out from underneath some clothes. I thanked her for dinner and bailed. Edit. Still getting requests on the hotness 07/10. Sorry for the wait. So they were trying to secretly record you. When I hear stories like yours, that is what I always think they are trying to do. How hot was she? Crowed elevator with me, my ex, and her family. Her ass pressed against my crotch for 23 floors. When she got out of the elevator, all she did was wink. Edit. For clarification, we were not together when this happened. We had broken up a month before this happened, and this was like 2 years ago. My friend called me to ask if I could help her change the shower head. Sure. No biggie. Then after I do it, she asks if I want a massage. I'm laying on my stomach and next thing I know she's topless giving me a massage, and things went from there. So were you getting the massage before you realized she was topless? Senior year, I took a shower with 2 girls at once. So how's mom and grandma doing these days? I lost my virginity working at a bar because my boss said to me, "Would you duck that girl over there?" I said, "Yeah, for sure." And he said, "You're cut. Punch out and take her home." To which I had to really wonder if he was ducking with me. But no, he was not. Plot twist. Boss didn't care about your love life. He just didn't want to pay you overtime. A while back was doing some physical therapy and walking back and forth in some parallel bars. It was me, male, my therapist, female, and a trainee who was shadowing her for a few weeks, male. She needed to check that my glutes were properly activating as I walked, and he needed the experience to know what to look for. So I was slowly walking back and forth while they shuffled along behind me, a hand on each of my ass cheeks. The situation was normal, professional enough, until another therapist, female, walked into the room and sort of froze in surprise, trying not to laugh. It was hard to deny the ridiculousness of it after that. She needed to check. I've been gait training patients for a long time. I've never needed to check. But congrats on getting a double ass squeeze. I was a cable guy. I did an install at an apartment that turned out to be a porn studio. They were interviewing a girl for a potential job, asking what sort of scenes she'd be open to doing. As I recall, she was into lesbian stuff and interracial, but not anal. Nothing happened. But in my mind I was thinking, I'm pretty sure this is how most 1980s porn scenes start. I could see that being a modern porn ad. Something like you're listening in on the interview, they leave and you come back saying you're there for the casting couch portion of the interview. You duck on the couch and afterwards you sneak out the back door and the interviewers are wondering why she's suddenly naked. Scene. When my sister's French exchange student came to the UK to stay with us after she left university to help improve her English. One night after a few too many drinks, she came into the bathroom while I was having a shower and everything went way better than expected. She took a shit while you showered. Nice. Was talking with a co-worker at my office. I don't even recall what she said, but I responded with, "Ah, you suck." She looked at me slyly and said yes. But do I swallow? She did. Just goes to show that attractive girls can use the lamest pickup lines with great success. I invited a girl over to watch movies at my apartment. 30 minutes in, she just turns to me and says, "I'm surprised we haven't ducked yet." That was my cue. Folks, I was in a bed with 2 girls and a guy, all drunk. Legit about to have a foursome until I ran out of the room puking and ruined the mood for everyone. You ruined that other guy's life, mate. Pizza delivery but without sex. So you didn't get the extra sausage? My mom hired a guy to build us a deck and I saw him looking at me through my upstairs window on the first day. He was super hot and Russian, and the idea of us being alone and him working while I brought him drinks and snacks was so exciting. Me being an 18-year-old was already sold into the idea of screwing my contractor. We ducked on the last day of installation. He was a good lay, but the deck turned out like shit. That's so disappointing. I hate it when a contractor does bad work and ducks my kids. We have a black leather couch in the office. My boss had one in his office until we started making vines parodying those types of porns. Ducking, like and subscribe.